Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity up right in corner. We've got Ggnore restarting as the Industrial Grey Terran, which I've had to restart this replay a couple times. I feel like the caster's curse tonight. Bottom left hand corner, we got Yaqoob starting as the Magenta Protoss. Hopefully not legitimately, but this is going to be on Polestar. Likely not legitimately. Kakru flying away from the central star point. I do kind of like this. It looks like a peaceful setting to hang out and look in. It would be great to be just like one of those NPC guys that's running around going like, hey, what's up? Just sitting here amongst apparently pot that they're growing in there. This is like, I guess, where they make the stim pack stuff in there, but just hanging out watching the Zerg versus Terran battle ferociously happen below, where it really doesn't impact your life because you're behind that glass wall or whatever. Anyway, pylon dropped. SCV migrating forward to drop the supply depot with enough space to potentially... That's interesting. Oftentimes you'll see supply depot and then barracks on the other side, but anyway. A little bit of chat in between with the discussion. Arguments of, okay, why didn't we start on Radeon? Because I think it was... Maybe it was... I wonder whose pick it was, actually. Ggnore doesn't like Radeon because of the difficulty of getting a fourth. That's an interesting take from Terran here. Doesn't like the long-term... Anyway, gateway opener here from Yaqoob. He is... If he opens up with an initial zealot, it might end up disadvantageous at cross position. I feel like cross positions, as much as Terran complains about Nexus first on those position, I do want to note that for the gateway openers for Protoss, they have a harder time dealing with Vulture openers. So if you don't end up going 12 Nexus on this map, you do have some trouble dealing with vultures out on the map as a follow-up, and you've got to really kind of shell up potentially, depending on, like, most of the time, even if you're going straight into Dragoon, which it looks like Yaqoob might. And I'm wondering if this is just the standard thing, kind of things go in and out as far as build order fashion. The safety zealot was oftentimes there to push, have a little bit of extra punch against FD, and also try to punish Terran who is early expanding, and sometimes get just straight up game victories if you micro it well with a probe and a Dragoon alongside. But I've noticed these days players are favoring getting pylons and earlier Dragoons in this build order, which does open up the option to get earlier Dragoons and potentially force Terran into siege a little bit faster. SCV has... This is interesting from Ggnore. He's blocking his main. He paused a Q on that Marine, and I'm wondering if he's wanting to play a little bit Marine light. Right now, hasn't scouted Yaqoob's space. He's confirmed it's not top left at this stage. Yaqoob confirming cross position, backing up one, is just going to get further scouting information with his Dragoon, so just drawing back right. And he's not keeping the probe nearby, which suggests to me that he's not planning on being all that aggressive. But we are seeing 3 Marines constructed. Factory not that far from finishing. No 4th Marine queued up. We do have a single SCV on gas, so it looks like this is going to be 3 Marine into expansion. Ggnore now cycling to the bottom left. The Dragoon holding the ramp, waiting for its brother to complete. The probe is going to have eyes on the SCV as it's cycling around. Is it going to join the front to go ahead and blockade? Positioning to potentially drop, but Ggnore allowing that SCV to sidle through just so he doesn't have any disruption on the Nexus. And he's going to have that second Dragoon shortly, but what this does do, again, at cross position, it allows that Vulture free reign to get on that map. So with the machine shop to follow and mines as well, and that potential Vulture threat, this kind of pins Yaqoob back. Even with range, you kind of want to play a little bit more safe. And I wonder if he's going to play it a little bit risky before this Nexus flops down, particularly if he has another Dragoon queued up. Never mind, going to go robotics facility on 26, but sometimes it'll probably drop another, wait for another pylon. The Vulture skittering towards the front, trying to tempt Yaqoob forward before disappearing into the darkness to the third. I think the mines are going to be saved for here, probably the 6 o'clock and from there, but that command center down pretty rapidly, and it's going to be close to pace with that Nexus, which in my opinion, I know a lot of Terran will say, oh, you got to be ahead, and if you're ahead, but I actually feel like that because 2-base Terran is so strong, I feel like that does put Terran ahead. This is interesting from Yaqoob. Gonna go ahead and take that forward egg rather than leaving it in place as well. So you're gonna go more, this is kind of an odd play, honestly, because that gives more surface area for the Vultures to scoot through. So I'm wondering if he's going to go for 2 base aggression here. He's got a second gateway here. That's pretty typical. Second factory plopping down here for Ggnore, and he's got a kind of sort of defensive front here. The barracks towards the left rather than towards the right. Does have mines upgraded. First mine planting on the ramp, second one near the third. So side note, what's up, Chippa? Observatory dropping, so I guess he just wanted the room for the observatory on the front and still have a little bit of edge so the Dragoons could push out on that corner. And yeah, here comes Ggnore. He's going to move out with his 3 Marine Siege Tank and 3 Vultures. Sorry, 2 Vultures. This is a very odd fake FD. I would be surprised is he legitimate about this? I don't think so. Maybe just wants to get eyes on or try to tempt a better mine hit. There's more Dragoons than otherwise. Maybe that was odd. That was very odd. Moved all his units out. Was there a timing he was expecting? This is just me being a inexperienced brooder. I think there might have been a timing that he was wondering if Yaqoob was going for. Or potentially he just didn't want to have to deal with potential Dragoon harassment out on the field. The Vulture's making their way back, by the way. Trying to catch that probe. Does catch the probe. That actually was more... I think that might have been the play, actually. Was move all those units to maybe engage a probe making its way across. That, and honestly, that's on point for what Terran do lately, which is slow down that third as long as possible. Seconds count. Are the Dragoons going to lead here? Nice maneuvering there by Ggnore. He's doing a great job of this. I'm going to skitter right back out with those Vultures, and that's going to force... These are precious seconds here where Yaquob's third are not, and even plopping more mines. Did he get the probe on the snipe? He might have gotten the probe. Got another probe. Wow. Great play. Doing a fantastic job of weaving in with these speed Vultures and just making Yaquob's life an absolute headache. Some fantastic play. Almost got a Mayan position there. But it looks like after, what was that? 30, 40 seconds? Which is considerable. Interesting. Early control tower. So I'm wondering if Ggnore thinking about going for some drops as well. We do have another factory, a third factory with, so interestingly enough, we've got the 2 machine shops, third factory, science facility for, is +1 weapons close to finished? Interesting. So to get a quick +2 maybe, second armory dropping. I think Ggnore felt like he did enough delay in the space of this to just go old school upgrade Terran. I'm not sure that, I mean, he did a really good job slowing that 6 o'clock base down. But actually getting a good read on Yaqoob here, because Yaqoob, well, let's see what happens here. No, the probe is going to migrate in to drop the 4th. So Yaqoob feeling the delay on the 3rd base, instead opting to go to a 4th base. And this is off not a lot of scouting information. I don't know that that observer wandered in. I mean, granted, it's... We got a drop ship and just 3 factories, so I think he'll be okay with this. Vulture able to sneak and get another probe kill, by the way. I don't know that that's worth it at that stage. 75 mineral, even with the, especially if the mines weren't expended. Yaquob's starting to make his way out. A few mines out in the corner. We have the Vultures waiting nearby, and a pylon wall here at the 6 o'clock. This, yeah, I think Yaqoob did this a little bit backwards. He moved in, maybe it could also be positioning of this observer as well, where he only saw the edge. No, he doesn't even see the edge of the factory counts. Maybe he just felt because the factory count, he was feeling less pressure that there was a lower factory count, which is kind of feeling things out. But Vulture's able to drop into the main. They're going to get some additional kills, and it's going to take a minute for the Dragoons to make their way back across. This is big headaches for Yaqoob. Ggnore doing, despite doing a great job here. That being said, I usually don't like Vulture drops. I feel like that gas can be better spent elsewhere. I don't think it's going to hurt Ggnore all that much here, just because he's getting what, 16 count? Wow, that's a lot. Fortunately for Yaqoob, he has that 4th now, because otherwise he would be flat out of this game. But now he really needs to focus on his macro. He needs to get some cannons down at these exterior bases. And Ggnore has a decision to make now, because off the 2 bases, looks like he's going to go for a 3rd, but honestly, the damage he's wreaked, he could have dropped down 2 additional factories. And with that 4th base of Yaqoob's, he might have been able to press into this. Vulture still alive with 10 kills. Are you kidding me? And still racking up kills. And are we going to get a Dragoon on top of it? No, okay. Disaster town for nothing going right for Yaqoob right here. And Ggnore gonna saddle up and go ahead and grab his 3rd, as Yaqoob's effectively at 2 base mining right this second based on his probe saturation. More vultures, which have been absolute assassins for Ggnore, making the way out. Are they gonna make it all the way into the main? Or I should say the natural? Able to make it to the natural, get a few additional kills. I don't know, that was worth it. I will tell you this, I love saying this sort of thing because it's like the 2nd hand, 3rd hand, whatever. Artosis once said that Flash said. What perspective is that? So it's like 4th perspective, 4th person perspective. If you just keep adding people, can you just keep saying it's like the next perspective down? I'm not sure it works that way. Anyway, Artosis said that Flash said that oftentimes Terran will get complacent and start throwing vultures out like that, at which point they're getting inefficient bad trades and kind of throwing away resources, in particular in the form of mines, because yeah, vultures are popcorn, but at the same time losing 8 vultures, I think that was 6, but losing like 8 vultures for nothing in the mid game, not that great. That being said, Ggnore absolutely sailing right this second. Supply depots are going to be in the way. Could have built this command center on site the way things are going. Yaqoob is not out of it yet, only because he's got 4 Nexus to rebuild that probe count, but he needs to get those probes out onto these bases immediately and really focus in on that. Fortunately, Ggnore is giving him a bit of a reprieve. The extra gas might be helpful. It looks like he's stacking up some additional gateways in the midst of this. Templar Archives, I believe he has out leg speed. Also finally getting the Observer speed. He's checking out bottom right just in case. I think Yaqoob playing very passively with his... Never mind, he got pushed back with that probe from that turret. That's what happened here. Hence the damage. Lucky that it's alive. I don't know that he's going to react in time to keep it alive against this turret. Starport floating out as a forward spotter. That's unusual. That's very unusual. And also, I mean, that's like a firm heads up that, hey, I'm going to have +2 weapons in not too long, if nothing else is. Poor Observer. Anyhow, we're still running at 2 gas for Yaqoob. Would be wise to tack on more gas to get more High Templar, etc. in the field. I'm wondering if he's going to fold back to robotics to get some shuttles up to try to protect those High Templar, because the Zealots are there in mass, but the vultures have been super effective from Ggnore at this stage. He's still down a little bit, but he is mining off 4 bases, which is pretty solid. Looks like he's going to wander up and try to grab a 5th. But here comes Ggnore as +2 weapons just about to finish. And it looks like this is going to be a very late... Yaqoob never pushed forward to get additional vision in the space of this. And so he does not see this coming, and his army is currently pocketed at the 9 and at his natural, so it's going to have some trouble grouping up to engage this. Although Ggnore not able to find the army here. It looks like now finding it, and it's just Dragoons against a large amount of siege tanks. At least, wow, that could have gone a lot worse for Yaqoob. He loses 3 Dragoons, but he is pinned back. Now his Dragoons are separated from the Zealots by mines and a lot else. The Zealots trying to group up to go for a firm wall from the left. The High Templar are towards the rear, which will be critical, but still, this is not a large attack force moving into this. It's going to come down to side storms. That's 2 pretty solid side storms, but I think that's going to be GG right here. Yeah, because there's no army left. Ggnore playing great there, by the way. Holy cow, he was playing great. The Vulture play in the early stage was fantastic. I do want to say a special note to Yaquob's side storms right there at the end. They were at least something, but man, Ggnore playing ferociously in game 1. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.